Hi, and welcome to Thrive Thursday. Every Thursday, I share a recipe you can make using Thrive Life freeze-dried ingredients. My motto is there's no excuse to live off beans and rice if you have to live off your food storage when you can make gourmet meals like this. So the majority of the ingredients of the recipes I use shelf-stable and freeze-dried ingredients. So be sure to like and subscribe so you can see the new recipes every Thursday. And be sure to comment as well if you have any other ideas or suggestions, or you tried it, or a variation, things like that. It's always fun to try new recipes. So I try to use ingredients that are currently on sale, because I'm big on budget and you want to build your food storage and live on a budget, right? That's always a wise thing to do. I have 6 kids, so we definitely have a budget, and the best thing to get the most bang for your buck is buy things when they're on sale. And there's more information on the blogs too. I have one thing that's called the 12-week secret. Definitely search for that on my What 8 blog. The link is in the video description. That is something very few people know about, but it definitely, I rarely ever pay full price for anything using that 12-week secret. So be sure and check that out as well. But using the ingredients that are on sale this month, I'm actually going to do 2 recipes this week. So it's kind of a bonus week. Normally I only do 1 recipe, but I had so many fun ideas with these ingredients that are on sale. I thought I'm going to do 2. So today I'm going to be making my own little invention. Is loaded mashed potato casserole. And we're going to make that, and then we're going to do a simple, easy egg drop soup. So we'll show you these 2 kind of, the mashed potato casserole could be a side dish. You could have it as a whole meal, whatever you want there. And then the egg drop soup, of course, can be a meal or just a side or a starter as well. All right, so I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see how quick and easy these are to make. And let's get going. I've got my milk heated up, so let's start our recipes. So first we're going to make our loaded mashed potato casserole. So we're going to start with our Thrive Life mashed potatoes. And for this, we're going to first put all our dry ingredients in the bowl. So I love these containers because they have a built-in measuring cup. It's so great. So just do 1 cup of the Thrive Life mashed potatoes. And now I prefer these Tupperware containers just because they keep everything really airtight and extend the shelf life of freeze-dried ingredients. But you can use them out of the can, that's fine. It's the same stuff. I just prefer these containers. Next, we're going to add some Thrive Life sour cream. So the sour cream is one thing I always tell people, it's great mixing in things, but it's just not something you want to have necessarily on top of potato, for example. But mixing it in something like this, it is super great. It just works perfect. So we're going to do 4 tablespoons, big tablespoons of the sour cream powder. That's gonna, you can't have a loaded baked potato or mashed potato without sour cream, right? And I love that this is shelf stable. The next, we're gonna put in some green onions. Now, if you don't like green onions, you don't have to add them. I added a couple tablespoons worth there. And this recipe is what you like in your baked potato. So if you like peppers, onions, anything, go for it. Customize it, personalize it, make it how you want. Now I'm going to use some of the Thrive Life eggs. This is the scrambled egg mix. It's just a powder. I'm going to do 2 big tablespoons of that. And that's just going to kind of help it come together. That's going to make it more like a casserole so it won't separate that much. It adds another dimension to the casserole. And then our cheese, freeze-dried cheese. Oh my goodness, it is the best, especially for cooking and things like this. It is so nice, shelf stable. You can just have it on your shelf and throw it in this, and it just hydrates up and it cooks, and it's so amazing. I love it. Love it, love it. Definitely worth having, especially in your food storage. You want cheese. That would be a sad life to live without cheese if you had to live off your food storage. So just mixing all of our ingredients, but we don't want to forget the Thrive Life garlic. Again, this is freeze-dried garlic. So handy. We like a lot of garlic, so I did a really good tablespoon size in there. But if you don't like garlic, don't put it in. I mean, you can really customize this whatever you like in your loaded baked potatoes. So now that we have all of our dry ingredients mixed together, we're going to add the milk. You can use water, but come on, milk's going to make it so much more creamier. So if all you have is water, that's fine. You can use that. 2 cups, and I had 2 cups of milk. I just heated up in the microwave for a couple of minutes. And at this point, we're just going to stir it together, and you'll see it'll start to thicken up as it mixes together. Now, when I bake this, it's going to get even more thick. So don't worry if yours is a little runny, because you'll see when I put this in the pan, it's going to be a little on the runny side. But by the time it bakes up, it's very firm and holds its own, and it's great. So no worries there. Last but not least, we're going to add bacon because I love bacon and loaded potatoes. You got to have bacon in there, right? So we've got all our family's favorites. We've got bacon, cheese, green onions, and sour cream. That's our family's favorite when it comes to loaded mashed potatoes. So we got all that in there, and this is our casserole base at this point. I mean, you really, everything's cooked. Well, no, sorry, I was going to say everything's cooked, but the eggs aren't cooked, so you do still need to cook it. If you didn't add the eggs, you would be fine, and this would be like loaded mashed potatoes. But we're making this more like a casserole, so the eggs are going to help it firm up a little bit more and stick together a little more. So just put it in the bottom of, you want to make sure your casserole pan is greased, which I just sprayed some Pam spray in there, and then spread it out. Now for the casserole topping. So again, this is a personal preference thing. There's a lot of different topping options. I mean, you could always go with cheese. I'm using Ritz crackers. Just because I like the buttery flavor of the Ritz crackers, and these are so easy. Just crush up in their little sleeve, and then open the sleeve and sprinkle on top. Super easy. But I mean, there's some other things that you could do. Some people do like the cornflake cereal, or some people do crushed up potato chips. Some people like do any type of cracker, your club crackers or the Ritz crackers. Or like I said, you could just do cheese. You don't have to have a topping. It just kind of adds another little dimension to it, and it makes it yummy and delicious, right? So you can stop there with the topping, or I wanted enough topping. I was just curious, there's how many crackers. There's 13 crackers in each of these sleeves. So I was just curious how many in there, but so if you don't have the little sleeves like this, you'd want to use 26 crackers if you want as many as I did. But there's no hard fast rule. This is, if you add more crackers, it's going to have a thicker cracker layer, crust layer. Less is going to have less. You don't have to have any. So this is really, you can customize it and make it your own, whatever your family likes and however you like it. So now this casserole is ready to go in the oven. Put it in the oven, 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. While it cooks, we're going to make our egg drop soup. Starting with, we got 6 cups of water in our pan there, and I'm going to do 6 teaspoons of the Thrive Life chicken bouillon. And this, don't worry if it clumps up or anything. As the water comes to a boil and gets hot, it'll dissolve and it'll mix right in. So no worries there. But give it a little bit of a stir. Just mix it in as much as you can. But you'll see there's some clumps and stuff there. Don't stress about those. They'll go away. They'll cook down. So once this would be like a chicken broth, and that's kind of what egg drop soup is your basic broth. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our egg mixture. I have about 1/4 cup of water in the bowl, and to that water, I'm going to add 3 good tablespoons of this scrambled egg mix, the Thrive Life scrambled eggs. And I mean, if you get off, you can always add more water, more egg. It's not a hard fast rule. You'll see how it'll thicken up. The eggs will thicken up, and it'll get kind of the consistency of scrambled eggs. Now, where these are a little bit different, freeze-dried eggs are a little bit different than, say, if you're going to use a fresh egg, is the membranes and stuff have been all broke down. So the eggs aren't going to stay together in like strings like they would in traditional egg drop soup. With egg drop soup, normally you have like the egg whites and the eggs kind of become almost like a noodle. These won't do that. So now we're going to add our vegetables to the chicken stock while everything's cooking here. About a third of a cup of our Thrive Life peas. For this, again, it's whatever your family likes in egg drop soup. I'm just going to put peas and green onions and corn in ours because that's what we like. So we got about 2 tablespoons worth of the green onions. It doesn't take too much of that. And a third a cup of peas, and then I'll do also about a third of a cup of corn. There's some, I mean, it just really is your preference. If you like carrots, put some carrots in there. This is where it becomes your personal preference on what you like in your egg drop soup. Now, a lot of times, normally when we make egg drop soup, if we weren't making it with freeze-dried ingredients, we would probably add the vegetables towards the end, especially if they were like frozen or something, because it does help when you're putting the eggs into the soup. It kind of helps to see the eggs. But because these are freeze-dried, they need the time to rehydrate into the stock. So that's why I'm adding them now instead of towards the end. But that's just a technical thing. That's not like it's going to change the recipe a whole lot. And so you don't want to stir it a whole lot once you have your egg mixture in there, because it'll break up the eggs. Now with this particular soup, that doesn't matter a whole lot because our eggs are going to be broken up already. They're not going to be stringy like I said in traditional egg drop soup. They're not going to look like stringy egg noodle pieces type thing. And so it's not as big of a deal. But at this point, we've got our eggs are hydrating there, and you're really just getting that vegetable and chicken stock. You're getting that water up to a boil. So, and these little portable burners that I'm using here, they are notorious for taking forever to do anything. So we're going to just speed up the camera a little bit here and pass the time quickly because you don't want to watch us for 20 minutes. Actually, I don't remember how long it took, but once it's getting good and hot and starting a soft boil, you want to stir it into a circle like this. And this is the egg drop soup technique. Once it's going into a circle, just spoon a couple spoonfuls of your egg mixture in. Now, in traditionally egg drop soup, that's how they make the egg drops. You have to have that rhythm and that momentum with the soup so that it doesn't turn into a ball of egg, right, in your soup. So pretty much that same technique, that's all we're going to do. Let it sit for a minute and let those eggs cook up before you stir it too much. Like I said, with these freeze-dried eggs, it's not as crucial because they're not going to stay together. The membranes have been broken down during the freeze-drying process and stuff, so it's not going to be quite the same. But that's okay. The flavor will be there. It just won't look the same. And so that same technique, just spin it in a circle, spoon your egg mixture in there, give it a second to kind of cook up those eggs, and then do it again until all your egg mixture is used. And if you like a lot of eggs, you can do a lot. If you don't like a lot of eggs, you don't have to do that much. And that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do for egg drop soup. And there you have both recipes. And there we go. So we got our egg drop soup, which I can't really tilt because it's liquid, and our loaded mashed potatoes. Oh my goodness. And these mashed potatoes, I'm so excited I can't even talk properly. They were so cheesy, and like I was pulling them out of the casserole and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm excited to try those. So, and the rich crust is so crumbly. It was a little messy, but let's see. Okay, this is everything a loaded mashed potato has in it, pretty much. You got your sour cream, your bacon. This is what loaded mashed potato dreams are made of. This is really good. The flavor is so good. You know, I was thinking, as it's cooked, it got a lot thicker. Like when we put it in the casserole, it was kind of runny on the, well, not fully, but on the runny side. And I mean, look how set up it is, and it's nice and it holds its shape, right? This consistency right here would be really good. Have you ever seen like those mashed potato balls where basically it's a loaded mashed potato, but you roll it in a ball and then roll it in the Ritz crackers? That would be really good too. And as like, you can make them little, like instead of meatballs, they're mashed potato balls, and like as appetizers and stuff, you could dip them in sour cream. That would be really good. Oh, wait. These are really, really good. I could just eat that for a meal. Oh, that might have a big piece of chewy bacon. Okay, so now the egg drop soup. So one thing to keep in mind, these eggs don't, they're not gonna be stringy as much as like traditional egg drop soup, but the flavor, and they smell amazing. Like this soup, I'm thinking it's pretty hot, so I'm gonna let it cool for a second, but the smell of it is just really good. Okay, that's some good egg drop soup. That chicken bouillon is kind of your normal bouillon tends to be a little on the salty side. So if you don't like things salty, one thing you can do to pull out the salt is, I know it sounds super weird, especially in an egg drop soup, but sliced potatoes. Potatoes will help pull out the salt. If you over salt like a gravy or a soup or something, add a couple slices of potatoes and cook it with potatoes. Potatoes will absorb the salt. Kind of interesting enough, huh? So things that have potatoes in them, usually you need a little extra salt because the potatoes will absorb that. I don't mind it, but I know some people are a little more sensitive to the salt flavor, but most bouillons and stuff tend to have a little bit of a saltiness. And this, I think, is a good salt, but if that is something you're concerned about. It was good. Okay, that's really good. This is a good soup for a cold day too. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. And again, please like and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next week for next week's Thrive Thursday recipes. Oh, I almost forgot. There's also in the description, there's a link to my Thrive Life website where you can buy these ingredients and build your food storage or use them in your day-to-day cooking like I do. They have a 25-year shelf life, up to 25-year shelf life. So awesome to have for food storage and emergencies. You just never know with the world the way it is now. So the link is down below. And if you want to be a consultant, I'd love to have you join my team as well. So we have lots of fun. All right, now for realsies, we're done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.